For everyone out there that's concerned about a trigger event to kick off a financial crisis or apocalypse, pay attention to this video because new threats are emerging and we're going to explain why you should be concerned and how you may want to prepare. Stay tuned in this video. Hey everybody, my name is JJ. You're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust. Thank you for being here today. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Come back for more news and updates. Today's a very important update and broadcast we want to bring you. Now, one of the themes of this channel is to be prepared. And being prepared means not just preparing for one scenario. A lot of people are just believing that the inflation and the rising prices are never going to stop. Whether it's digital assets, including stocks, whether it's the cost of living, houses, homes and home prices, real estate, rising prices. So many people develop the FOMO and they believe that if they don't get in now, they may be priced out of the market forever. But there's always been boom and bust cycles. Now, there have been some countries where it was only rising prices and a bust in the form of a price decline or crash never happened. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen in the United States. Could it happen? Absolutely. This thing could go all the way into hyperinflation. Prices never come down. The dollar gets destroyed. But what if we have more deflationary events on the way to the ultimate hyperinflation? It's possible. So I try to prepare for either scenario. Now, I don't give investment advice on this channel, and it's impossible to do that for anyone because everyone's situation is different. But let's take a look at some of the threats that could really bring the financial system to its knees. And let's start right here out of Axios. This is Axios.com. Now, this was an article highlighting an interview with Jerome Powell on 60 Minutes. Fed chair says U.S. economy is at an inflection point. But that's not what I want to focus on. There's something buried in this article that had me go do a little bit more research for you and take a look at what it says here. And some of this we already knew, but the Fed is basically putting it out there that there's some big risks right now in the financial system and in the banking sector. From this article, threat level, Powell told Pelley the risk that the Fed was watching out for most now was the threat of a cyber breach. Officials were bracing for a range of scenarios from payment utility breakdowns concerning individuals and large financial institutions to the financial system being brought to a halt. Brought to a halt. Can you imagine if the financial system was brought to a halt because of some breach or security issue or attack on the system? You would see chaos within a matter of, I think, within 24 to 48 hours in the U.S. here, and probably a lot of other countries also. But so many people here in the U.S. are dependent on instant cash, ATMs. So many people are unprepared. I'd have to guess 99.9% of people do not have much emergency funds or any funds out of the financial system. And you would begin to see panic and shortages and lines at the stores, shelves cleaned out, I think in a matter of just a day or two. All right, but it continues here, quote, there are cyber attacks every day on all major institutions now. And that's from Jerome Powell. Again, there are cyber attacks every day on all major institutions. So that could mean all the banks. It could also mean the Fed and all the institutions that depend on the Fed. Right? So imagine if that happened and there's no way for us here, you and I as investors or consumers, to prove or disprove what happened. So if anyone was looking for a reason to bring the markets down and finally put an end to these bubbles, that would be the perfect excuse. Now, I'm not saying they're up to anything shady, but if something did happen, there's no way to know who was involved. We would just have to take their word for it. And I don't know about you, but what I hear out of the Fed a lot of times is complete BS and the opposite of what's really happening in the real economy. If you've been on this channel, we've punched holes in the words of the Fed and these quote unquote financial experts hundreds of times, and we've disproven what they've said, and we have showed you all the evidence about the phony numbers that they put out, the phony data, the false and phony statements. So, with everything that we've uncovered here and what most of you probably know by now, would you really trust um, what they say if there is some sort of halt or what they're calling here freeze of the entire financial system because of some attack? So that's why I try to get people to prepare for different scenarios. A lot of people are all in the markets. They see prices going up. Digital assets went crazy this past couple weeks. Even some altcoins just going crazy, 500, 600, 700% gains. And it's very tempting to go all in. Absolutely. But I try to stay balanced. Now let's take a look at another report here. CybersecurityInsiders.com. U.S. banks are preparing themselves for a cyber attack apocalypse. So I don't know about you, but it looks to me like they're putting this out there in the public sphere. That way, when it does happen, people will not be so dismayed or in disbelief. So people will say, oh, yeah, I remember reading an article, I remember hearing about that, and it will make people less likely to question it when it actually does happen. So, in my opinion, they could be putting this in the public sphere for that reason. Or maybe it is legitimate attacks from outsiders that are unknown, that cannot be stopped. Either way, it doesn't matter. We need to protect ourselves, in my opinion. Another Axios article, this one's a couple months ago, but it's relevant to our broadcast today. Pompeo says Russia is pretty clearly behind an attack on the U.S. Right? The former Secretary of State said it's, quote, pretty clearly it was the Russians behind a massive cyber attack that breached dozens of government agencies, think tanks, and companies. There's a lot of risk out there right now. Most people don't see it. Most people believe that things like this could never happen, that there could be a freeze up or a halt in the financial system, but it could happen very quickly, and the fallout and the chaos can be just as fast and just as devastating because people, again, are not prepared. Most people don't even carry cash anymore. It's all, they're going to swipe the card wherever they go. Nothing's going to ever happen with the grid, the power grid. The financial system's never going to see any problems. That is the view, I'd guess 99.9% of people, right? So be very careful, and I continue to stress, and I can't give advice again, but what I do is keep assets and money out of the system. I would not want to be all in one direction or another. For example, if you're in all cash and you continue to see rising prices and inflation, your cash is going to continue to be trashed and basically burned because the cash is going to get more worthless every day that prices continue to rise. But if the opposite happens, if we do see a deflationary event, an attack on the system that brings all these bubbles finally to an end, you're going to wish you had some cash sitting on the side because assets are going to get much, much cheaper. When the financing stops, when the loan stops, when the money, helicopter money quits getting thrown out there, prices will correct, and it's going to be much more devastating and wicked than we saw in the 2007-2008 financial crisis if that happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible. All right, there are people out there that will tell you that it's not possible, but the warnings are being put out there. The writing is on the wall. Look at all the craziness that's just happened in the past year or so. If you would have asked somebody a couple years ago that there would be mandates and shutdowns of all these businesses and all the multi-trillion-dollar stimulus packages, stimulus checks sent out to people because of so much devastation, people would have said you were crazy. Well, take a look at what's happening now and prepare yourselves, everybody, because it's going to get crazy and crazier and crazier. All right, everybody. So I hope you are doing well at this time. Thank you for being here for this broadcast. I'll continue to prepare, stay diversified, in my opinion. That's what I'm doing. I wouldn't have all your assets or funds in one spot in case something does happen, even if you have it out of the bank. It could be a burglary, it could be a house fire, So stay diversified, in my opinion. Please let me know what you're doing down in the comments. I love reading your comments. Are you all in? Is it going to be inflation to the moon, all the way into hyperinflation, or are we going to see some quote unquote event or unexpected situation arise that's going to bring these markets and the financial system to its knees? You let me know. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now. Peace.